For those of you who don't know me necessarily, I have been in the mortgage industry now for just a little over 20 years. I have been fortunate to be around the top mortgage professionals in the business for the last 15 plus years. And if you've ever been in one of the groups with me, like a mastermind or an event, you'll know I ask a lot of questions. It is my trait of curiosity that I attribute a lot of my success to. It was also the same curiosity that led us to where we are today. And that's why I'm just really excited to help you understand what I believe about the future of this industry. In all the years that I've been in this business and surrounded by the best and brightest mortgage professionals, I've always asked everyone the same question. I always say, hey, tell me all the reasons why you're successful. And I can promise you, I've heard every answer imaginable, right? Over and over again, everyone tells me kind of the same stuff. But not one time, not once, did I ever hear someone attribute their success to technology. Right? No one's ever said anything about their technology helping them in any material way. And I quickly realized that all of us were actually successful despite having old, antiquated technology and systems and scalability. But look, no one had a competitive advantage. So we were all just kind of okay with it because I guess misery loves company. And we were in great company when it came to tech and systems and scale, right? Everyone just did the best with what we had. What I realized was that amongst the best of us was a very common metric, which was that for every 5 families we served, we needed one full-time teammate along with us. So if we're helping 20 families a month, the best teams would typically have at least 4 teammates, not including themselves, so 5 total. And yeah, you probably guessed it. When we were helping 50 families per month, we had at minimum 10 teammates, but oftentimes we had more. And I'm realizing that number is still true today. I talk to a lot of mortgage professionals. I coach a lot of mortgage professionals. And if you're helping 20 families, there's teams that have 10 plus people on them still today. And I think that problem is getting worse, not better. But because I had that problem, and many of my coaching clients have that problem, and a lot of other people in the industry have the problem, I knew I needed to create a solution because I didn't want to continue to increase my margin to cover cost of fulfillment. And I think if you look at a lot of mortgage professionals, we still look around and we don't see anyone that has a competitive advantage in technology because most mortgage companies and most originators are still actively searching for solutions. I was at the Housing Wire gathering event last week, and every CEO, chief technology officer, all these people were there. And there was a common theme that no one really knew what to do when it comes to technology, but we're trying to figure it out. And I just want to show you guys the solutions that we figured out thus far, along with this incredible group of people. So, look, there's 2 kind of mortgage advisors right now. There are those who are adopting and adapting to technology, and that they realize that what's around the corner is going to be impactful. And so they're actively searching for the best technology and the best systems to build the future of their business. And then there's everyone else who's going to be replaced by technology. I know there's a lot of fear around it and a lot of talk that creates a lot of emotion. I can tell you we're realizing it real time right now. So my goal of this webinar is simple. I just want to share with you what we're experiencing, want to show you something different, and why I personally and many of the teammates here today, we're more excited about the future than we ever have been about the past. Because what we're going to do in the next few years will make 2020 and 2021 seem very insignificant from an impact and opportunity perspective. And this is important. If you are a leader, whether you're a leader of just a few teammates or large group, we're going to show you how to guide your teams to a better future. We'll show you how to create consistent lead flow, predictable lead flow, how to deliver a modern 5-star client experience, how to convert faster, more often at higher margins. You'll do that by showing more value. And then ultimately, how do we scale our business to where we help 50 to 100 families a month without working more hours and without burning out? And I promise you, what we're about to show you is not the future. It's what's happening right now. So if you're ready to compete and win in tomorrow's new world, we are going to ensure that you have the tools to do that. You're in the right place. Don't fall behind here. Don't get evolved over, right? Step into the evolution of the mortgage business and you will have a much better future than the past. So let's dive in here. Ultimately, what we're doing here is we are going to show technology, systems, and scale, which is, I believe, the future of mortgage lending. We're going to go through a couple different categories here. We're going to talk about leaders in this new world. We're going to talk about lead generation in this new world, conversion, post-closing and retention, and then fulfillment, how we scale. We'll go through each of these sections. So first, we're going to start with leadership. If you are a leader of people, realize that there's going to be two ways to build technology. There is the Frankenstein's monster way, which is where you have an LOS, which is somewhat antiquated, and then you have a bunch of different vendors selling you things that you then bolt on, and you have all these disparate systems and technologies. And it's going to be very difficult for real AI and automation to work because all those are separate companies. They have separate technology, separate APIs, separate development paths. As you're building out your technology stack, try and do it in a place where it is all in one area, whether it's building a solution or finding a solution, but don't have disparate systems where you have a CRM and then you have a LOS and you have a POS and you have a pricing engine, a doc system, and then you have an AI voice outreach system, because it's not going to scale that way. It'll be expensive and it'll continue to break. And I can tell you that from experience, versus all encompassing one system. So everything in one place where AI is built into the system, where you can actually put your clients' non-public information into your automation, into your AI. It's not out in the world, it's secured into your system, and everything will run off of one engine. That's going to be incredibly important. Second thing, if you're a leader, talk to your company. If you're analyzing what companies to be at or where the future looks like, just ask the owner or the leader of the company, hey, do we have like real tech engineers here? Like, do we have Silicon Valley product teammates and tech engineers that are building technology? Or do we have an IT team that is trying to figure out vendor technology to bolt on to a system? And look, this is not a slight on IT teams. I absolutely love our IT team. I've loved every IT team I've ever had because they help us with very important things. But IT teams don't build technology. They try and figure out how all these things work together. So look for an organization that has genuine technological engineers, Silicon Valley level engineers, product teammates that are going to build what you need as a mortgage professional for the next decade. And then this is a very important one. Again, if you're a leader, please make sure that the roadmap and the vision is shared with the team. Is the company you're at or the company you own or whatever it is it building technology to empower the mortgage professional of the future and support it, or is it building it to replace it? And there's a lot of importance behind this, because what we want is to stay in the 5% of the genius zone that allows us to make the biggest impact. And we want technology to do the rest of the 95%. If we are at a company that's saying we want technology to do 100%, that's a problem, because it's going to remove empathy. It's going to remove humanity and morality. And it's just going to be a sales engine, which there are a lot of companies that are trying to build that right now. And just making sure as a leader, you understand what you're actually building and what the end game is, because teammates will really want to know that and will make them feel safe. So we're going to move into the lead generation portion of this now. For those of you who didn't get a chance, go to our YouTube page and watch lead generation. We're using a lot of AI right now and a lot of automation and some really cool technologies to generate tens of thousands of leads per month for our team. And I don't want to go all back into that now, but utilizing AI and automation in lead generation is important, because that's why you see a lot of these acquisitions happening. You just saw the other day, Bayview bought Guild because they want all those clients. They want to get to those clients first. People are buying the Movados and the Redfins of the world because they want to get to the client first. Like, everyone's trying to figure out, how do we move higher up the funnel? And what that means is it's just going to be harder and harder for your average boots on the ground mortgage professional and real estate professional to get access to the client early enough. So watch the lead generation one. What I want to show you is lead routing. So as we are generating leads today, like, a client could land on this, which is they click on an ad that they saw, a Hulu video, a Netflix video where they click get connected here. So we're advertising everywhere. But what we want to do is we want to use automation for routing, so it routes to the right people in the right places. So I'll show you kind of what this looks like. Client lands here, they hit start pre-approval. They go through this phase. They're going to be buying a home. They are going to, they're in open houses. They want to buy in 0 to 3 months. They're going to live there full time. That's going to be a single family property, right? And then there'll be a first-time home buyer. They haven't owned a home before. Now, based upon city and state, this is where routing becomes important, because if you're generating opportunities at scale, you want to route to the right place. So I'll put in my information here, put in my name, fake email. And then what's going to happen is you'll see the system start to figure out, okay, where is the best local mortgage professional to route this client to? So it says our AI platform is verifying info, analyzing needs, matching you with the right professional. And then bang, it says, okay, Josh Metal is the right mortgage professional for this. You've been upgraded to a local mortgage professional at Neo. Josh is your guy, and it gives you all the reasons as to why Josh is your guy. Lower payments, higher offer acceptance rate, make you look like a cash buyer. And then what happens is Josh, by the way, Josh, if you've gotten multiple leads from me, I apologize, but hit continue my pre-approval, and then the client will fill out the rest of the application in your link. So now all these leads are going to be routed to the right person in the right part of the country. And it's up to them to then show value and then take this to the top real estate agents and the top builders in their market. But now we need to get to that client quickly. And humans are never going to be as fast when it comes to getting to the client as technology will be. Let's see if this plays.
Hello, Martin. This is Betty with Better Mortgage, a trusted partner of LendingTree, calling on a recorded line. I'm reaching out as you've recently shown interest in a home equity line of credit.
Do you know how quick that was? I literally just hit the button. Wow. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Amazing. But go ahead. I'm listening.
Hello, Martin. This is Betty with Better Mortgage.
Like, the reason why that client was so excited about like the speed is because he literally just clicked the button in the same way that I hit submit to go to Josh. So a lot of times we catch these clients when they're in the act of continuing to fill out the application, which is the best time to talk to somebody, right? And so Betsy is our AI, and it's inside of our system. So as soon as the trigger happens, it calls the client, while at the same time, it's going to call Josh, and then it's going to live transfer those two together. That's the future of speed to lead, and that's going to happen inside of automation systems. But lead creation and routing are just as important in terms of getting to that client, also for conversion, which we'll get to here in a second. Need to follow up instantaneous, which technology will solve for. People will get real time, like when they're thinking about a mortgage, that's when they want to connect with someone about a mortgage, not hit the button and hear someone an hour later or 30 minutes later, even 5 minutes later. Because I literally could be interested in a mortgage, and then maybe my wife comes in, we start having a conversation, somebody calls me, I don't answer it, and I'm over it at that point. So like the instantaneous nature of getting to someone when they're in the mindset of what we offer is important. Precision, we need to call them with information that they put into the system. So it can't just be, hey, I'm calling because you typed in something. It needs to be, I'm calling because you want a $50,000 mortgage, you want this, you want that, you want the other. Automation is incredibly important in this. And then ultimately integrated into your LOS. This is hugely important. Brian is going to show you some stuff here in a second why like AI is great, but without AI inside of your loan origination system, it's going to be challenging because it's going to be very surface level. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Okay, so up next, we have Eddie Ha. He is our production of technology. He is also called the general, so let's refer to him that way. And Eddie, I will stop sharing, and you can talk about client journey, personas, and propensity modeling, and how we're generating leads from our database and from our agents' databases. Eddie, you can take it away.
Cool. Thanks, Ryan. Hi, everyone. So I wanted to talk about the ADM intelligence platform that we have inside of ADM. So what that entails is the ADM intelligence feature gathers over 5,000 consumer data points to help us analyze all of our database records and determine how likely they are to do a purchase or refinance in their transaction. So let me show you the personas. ADM determines 4 different personas, right? There's a tight budget Trixie, there is relaxed retired Rick, there is comfortable tradesman Cal, and then there also is glamorous grandpa Gary. So you can name them as you like, but this is the ones that we titled for our account. And essentially, based upon the data points that's captured and then the personas that they're identified as, we put them on a journey that will send out information, emails, text messages to get them engaged with us. And it's also good for us to know when we're having that conversation and we're reaching out to that client where their situation is at, so that we can have a meaningful conversation and get them to see what makes sense for them both short and long term, right? So Type by literacy would be identified as a woman that's middle to late 30s, someone that's a single, someone that has decent credit score, someone that might have a household of 1 to 2. What essentially we do is we apply the personas, we put them on a campaign. So the campaigns are 4 different ones: is a affluent, comfortable, aspirational, and general rollover. Type budgetricity will be notated as aspirational because she wants to get to the comfortable and affluent stage. So when we go into our ADM account here, you can see that the aspirational campaign is here. We identified it as a persona type by Trixie. The score right now, we would say anything from 30 to higher is someone that's highly likely to do a purchase or refinance. So we set these conditions, and you can see down here, there's communication going out to that specific contact record. If we go into our list view here, you can see that the scores are showing on here and shows what kind of personas they have. Like anybody above 30 would be highly likely for us to get some kind of positive engagement and likelihood to do type of transaction, whether it be a purchase or refinance in the near future. Anything I missed on that one, Ryan?
No, I think this is super important. Right? So making sure that your database is not just being filtered by loan type or a loan amount or state. Every client should have a persona, and that persona should be essentially how you can best serve them. So what Eddie was showing there was, you can see here, this is Angela Smith. She is tight budget Trixie, which is basically like, hey, this client is a little more tight on their finances. They need help, but she's also a hot lead because there's data in 4,000 data points that show why she might transact and what it might look like. So the way that we market to Coke tester, which is the name of this person here, is going to be very different than the way that we might target an affluent client, the way that we might communicate to an aspirational type client. And this is where most databases, they're really just like phone books. It's just name, email, phone number, and it might have some information, but it's not actionable. And we can't market to every single person the same way, or we'll miss the mark on most of them, because it's like what a tight budget Trixie is interested in or concerned about, or what interests them, is going to be different than an affluent client, right? Or somebody who's more aspirational. So the personas in your system are going to be incredibly important. And the propensity modeling is really important as well. As Eddie showed earlier, your database should be scored based upon the data. And if you see someone north of 30, they should be on your call list. If you just start calling everybody, I hear people this all the time. I'm going to start with the A's, then I'm going to go to the B's, then I'm going to go to the C's. Like, why would you do that? Why don't you just start with the people who need your help the most? Well, I don't know who needs my help the most. That's where your technology should be showing you, right? Your technology should be showing you who needs your help, why, and it's constant data behind the scenes that is helping us really make the biggest impact in the people that need it the most. What else would you say there, Eddie? Anything else?
No, I think you summarized it pretty well. Some of the consumer data points that is captured is their income, their household number, any property data that they own, financial data. So all of that is compiled into one and helps us determine who to reach out to sooner rather than later.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Continuing on the lead generation path, this is important. If you don't know what AI agents or AI companions are, you'll want to pretty quickly here. So I'm going to play this for you. And I just put in, how will AI agents or companions impact the mortgage industry? You can see that like real-time lender matching, agents will scan hundreds of lender options in real time for interest rates, different offers. They'll have documentation requests. They'll have instant qualification in minutes because they can connect with the lenders. You'll have an always-on mortgage assistant, which is 24/7 Q&A, timeline management. And again, I won't go too deep into this, but this is right around the corner. There's a lot of AI agents and companions that are happening today. And ultimately, what's going to make possible is real-time lender matching, automated instant underwriting, clear explanations. And it says, bottom line, AI agents will act like 24/7 digital mortgage advisors, the best of a loan officer, financial planner, and processor, all with the speed and convenience of modern technology. Like, this is the end of SEO. Search engine optimization is not going to matter much anymore. It's really important that you ask your leadership, is our technology built for AI agents and AI companions? And if it's not, get to that place fast, because there's a concept called last mile. The last mile concept is that in the near future, people are going to have their AI agents and companions do a lot of the searching online for mortgages and trying to give them information. And it's going to put the mortgage companies in front of them that they think are the best match based upon that client's information. if your system isn't able to ingest the AI automation to connect and give that, you're just going to be out of that equation altogether. So we are really fortunate that our system was built in Vishal will tell you, and Better will probably tell you, like it wasn't intended on that, but the platform is built to ingest AI agents and AI companions, which means that our team will then get the opportunity to take the client the last mile, which is the most important part. It's the advice, it's the guidance, it's the strategy, it's the education, the analysis, the motivation, the things that technology won't replace. Right. And so making sure that you're aware of the future of mortgage shopping and how will you be included in that conversation is going to be incredibly important. Just wanted to make sure we touched on that. Again, it's not super prevalent today. And who knows, maybe it has a 25% adoption rate of people in the industry in the next 2 to 3 years. That's 25% of the people that we would like to be in conversation with, still along with the 75% who are maybe old schooling a little bit. Be aware of AI agents and AI companions. Okay, next is lead conversion is going to be about CRM communication and efficiency, custom configurations, automations with partners, and webinar lead funnels. So at this point, we've ingested the leads, we've went out and found them, we've got speed to lead very quickly, and now we are going to get into how do we start to convert these clients at a high level. So Eddie, I'll let you take it away.
This contact record is an example from a recent client of ours that we got from our Better purchased leads. We have automations specifically built for these leads when they come in, and this has helped us increase our conversions in terms of getting a response and seeing how we can help the clients. So the lead came in at 418 at 841. You can see that a text message and email went out. You can see also on our notes section here that our team member was able to connect with them or put in notes around 9:52. So by that time, we connected with that lead. They were able to get their application in. We were able to start retrieving their documentation, getting their pre-approval already done and reviewed. So this is a great way of having the system do its part, right? Creating the automations, making sure that we're speed to lead, connecting and converting at a high level. So we've been seeing great success with the automations that we have built within our CRM. And in terms of like custom configuration, we have a whole wide of automations that we've created for all of our users. These would include in-process workflows, long-term nurtures, emails that go out to our realtor and client database on a weekly and monthly basis to give them information on the housing market. We have specific workflows that is part of the Neo way where we have our client success managers communicate with our borrowers post-closing. We have birthday automations. And then also the user can create a customized email automation. So if they want to market an event that they're doing or hosting, they can do that through the CRM. One example here is we partner with My Credit Guy, which is a credit repair company. And so whenever someone might need more credit repair assistance to improve their score, to get them approved, we put them on this drip campaign. We'll send them out email touches as well as text messages. And here is an example in the email. It has the link for them to get signed up with the My Credit Guy. So if they click on that link, it takes them straight to here. It'll show how the Neo and the My Credit Guy partnership is. And then once they put in their information, the My Credit Guy team will receive it and they'll connect with the lead that you referred over. And then also My Credit Guy will get back to you with updates on how that client's progress has been in terms of improving their credit. So that's an example of how to create automation with our partners through the CRM.
Awesome. Thanks, Eddie. So yes, you have to have really great communication efficiency. You have to have really incredible workflows on different client journeys. You want to have automation with external partners like credit repair and these other places, but you don't want to do it manually. If you have to manually be like, oh, well, let me put so-and-so in touch with the credit company, and then you have to follow up, you have to do these things. Like when you're trying to help 50 to 100 families a month, you're not going to have the time, space, or energy to not have all of this automated, to not have technology convert your best intentions into actionable steps. The last thing I'll share is my friend Neil Dingra. Some of you probably know him. He's been doing awesome with teaching people how to do webinars. He'll help you understand the messaging, what to put out into the world, and then you get 100 plus people to show up at your webinar. And these are home buyers or homeowners. And then you need to create custom funnels. And a lot of CRMs don't allow for that customization or landing pages. So you want to make sure that your CRM has a ton of customization in it that allows you to then go execute on stuff like Neil and a lot of his team are teaching the whole forward community. Definitely make sure to look at how your CRM is operating. It has to connect with your LOS. If you have a CRM that's not connected to your LOS, it might as well be a sticky note because you're just constantly going in and having to do everything manually there. So we'll keep going. Thank you again, General. Next, we are going to go from CRM conversion to actual like data conversion and showing clients. If you don't know, most of our team here uses Mortgage Coach. If you're still sending traditional fee sheets and hoping clients know what to do with them, that's a problem. So if you don't connect with Mortgage Coach, Dave Savage and his team are doing incredible work. This is a modern approach to how you want to help clients understand their options. Cool thing about it too is they've built AI inside of Mortgage Coach. So now when a client opens it up, they can see, hey, I'm here to help you understand total cost analysis. And I just said, well, can you explain to me what buying down the rate means? And it explains all of it. And then they can actually talk to it. It will ping you to let you know what your client's doing or what they're thinking, so you can then get involved. And then the next evolution, I believe in August, Dave told me, is that there's going to be an automation of creation of the TCA. So you don't actually have to go in and create it the way that we have done historically. So if you're not using Mortgage Coach today in your conversion process, it's probably a miss, because there's a ton of automation. There's a ton of capability for your clients to ask great questions and have your avatar version of you answer it. But make sure you're using some form of this when it comes to helping clients understand their financing options, because this is stuff they're going to want to see, and they're going to want to see it right when they want to see it. And if someone's sending them a fee sheet, it's not a good look. It's not going to help. So another thing is having AI inside of your CRM is incredibly helpful. So this is a good example of an AI agent working on your behalf. We talked about AI agents on the client's behalf. If you're in your ADM CRM, this is an example. It says, hey, Michael, we identified Jesse Miller has a propensity score greater than 25%. So you saw all those people that Eddie pulled up in our CRM that have 30, 32, up north of 40%. Right? And so it's like, well, let's reach out to all those people. Literally, you're in here and your AI agent will say, hey, Michael, we see that Jesse Miller's above it. Do you want me to send him a text? So say, Jesse, hope you're doing well. Just checking in to see if there's anything, blah, blah, blah. Do you want me to send it? Yep. Click send. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to find them. It just happens. And you say yes. And then it says, okay, well, I sent the text message for you. Would you also like me to send an email? Here's an example for the email. Hope you're doing well. Wanted to check in, blah, blah, blah. Do you want me to send that? Yes, please. Bang. Right now you just sent a text and an email to a client that you never knew really needed your help before, but because they had a propensity modeling score above a certain thing, now you have an agent inside of your CRM looking at your client's data, and not just looking at it, analyzing it, and then asking you how you want to communicate with it. And you just hit yes and it's out. So this is the level of automation that the mortgage professional of the future needs to not just do a lot of loans, but to actually make a significant impact in the lives of the families that we're serving. Because if our commitment is that when we tell Jesse Miller, hey, we're not just going to help you for 30 days, we're going to help you for 30 years in a very proactive way. Well, we can't do that if we don't know what's happening in Jesse Miller's life, right? So the propensity modeling score tells us it's north of 25%. It's highly likely that something's going to happen. Then we want to connect and make sure that Jesse doesn't tell us what he wants to do. We help him work through what the options are. Now we have one of our incredible product managers, Thanh Nguyen. Thanh is going to talk about everything inside of what an LOS AI should and can do. This will blow your mind, so buckle up.
Cool. Thank you, Ryan. Hi, everyone. My name is Tan. I've been a better for around 5 years now. Been working on our end-to-end mortgage platform, Tinman. So super excited to show you some of the features. I could talk about Tinman all day, but Ryan only gave me around 10 minutes, so I'll just give you the highlight reels. First of all, this is a overview of what Tinman looks like. It's a very powerful platform. Lots of things in here: pricing, eligibility engine, points of sales, closing, doc, and disclosure generation. So it can be a little bit overwhelming, but I have a friend here. Her name is Betsy Chat, where she can help me get some information about this file. For example, if I'm a loan officer and I'm just opening up a file, I see that it's suspended right here. Usually in the past, I would have to click around, be like a detective, piece things together to understand what's happening so far, what the issue is, and what I need to do to follow up and get the client back on their happy path. But right here is our AI assistant, Betsy. I can say, can you please help me resolve the suspension on this file.
So just to be clear, she's literally communicating with the operating system about this particular file, the same way that you would ask ChatGPT something. And because it lives inside of the operating system, this happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little bit of background on Tinman is every piece of information is logged as what we call facts. And it's a full ledger of, for example, income. Their stated income might be different. And as we go through verification, we realize that actual verifiable income is a little bit different, things like that. So all of those data points are logged that Betsy is able to reference when I ask her a question on top of our general knowledge base, which has all of the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, any other investor, seller's guidebook, any institution specific overlay rules that we use in our pricing and eligibility functions. That's why within just literally seconds, Betsy is able to look at everything that has happened on the file, identifying and telling me, hey, the suspension here is having to do with insufficient income. Basically, we need some more information, documentation from their CPA to verify details about their profit and loss. And she's also referencing where she got the information from and the required action here. And then I can say, draft an email to the borrower to explain this action item. So similar to what Ryan was showing before with the email agent from ADM, this things that are happening on the file. And yes, focus on the CPA letter. So she's helping me clarify what exactly is needed from the CPA to be able to bring this file back to a happy path. And just another file that I want to show you, slightly different, is actually a HELOC where DTI is a little bit over the limit as well, and the file is also suspended. So I'm gonna have Betsy help me find the best way to reduce this debt to income ratio.
Team, just think through your credit analyst, your loan specialist, your underwriter, anybody who is in this. They don't have to figure this out. They just ask the question. Like, why is my DTI here? Or what do I need to get to the client? Like, it's all done. The email's written, everything's ready, and it moves. And because it's inside the system and it knows what we specifically need, not just what the standard guidelines are. Now it's saying, hey, why is the debt ratio here? And then you'll see it says you'd like a more specific breakdown or for a revised DTI scenario. And then Todd, you can take it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's showing me the current DTI is obviously above our 50% threshold and also the biggest drivers of why the DTI is higher. So I can say, help me run the best what if scenario to revise DTI. And again, she's looking at all the different facts and referring back to the knowledge base here to see what we can do here. So one thing here is we know they have rental properties, although they haven't sent us the lease agreement for us to qualify the rental income yet. So that could be the first action item there. Also looks like it's recommending to pay off the auto loan because it sees that the borrower has the ability to do that with their cash proceeds from this HELOC. And then also not the best option, obviously, but is still an option, is reducing the draw amount of this HELOC. Not just giving information, but recommending direct next steps here. And same thing, I can ask Betsy to draft an email and send it out to the client. As you can see, on top of being a very, very helpful assistant, just having all up-to-date knowledge from different sources. Betsy is also a very helpful onboarding assistant because as you know, every time you go to a new system, especially something as powerful as Tinman, there's just so many things to learn and it can be a little bit overwhelming. If you're a manager or a sales trainer, sometimes people hit you with all these questions and you have to go in and take a deep dive to understand what's going on. But with Betsy, every loan officer or any teammate, as a fact, has their own assistant. They can ask, what do I need to do to make sure that AUS runs or anything like that? They don't have to wait on a manager or a enablement partner to get back to them with a question. Because Tinman is web-based, multiple people can work on the file together. I'm not asking Ryan, hey, get off the file so I can get in and work on this. And then Ryan takes 30 minutes, so I go get a coffee and then things like that. So the level of efficiency and collaboration is just very high here with Tinman.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Right now, I won't say the name of the LOS, but you probably know it. Right? If you're in the file, no one else can work on it. If you're underwriting the file, nobody else can work on it. So it's this linear, slow progress of a spinning wheel and people pulling their hair out. Here, we could have the underwriter, the closer, the originator, all in the file at the same time, working on their portion of it, which just creates lightning efficiencies to be able to get a file from start to finish. And one of the things we want to do in mortgage as well is we want to reduce friction. Ton, can you show like the smart doc upload and how it's benefiting clients, and then how that's decreasing the consumer labor time, how much time a consumer has to actually work on a file?
Yeah, absolutely. So switching gears a little bit, we've been looking at the internal view of Tinman, which is what our loan team looks at and works in every day. But we are also able to flip over to borrower view right here with this eyeball icon right here to see what the borrowers are able to look at. And as you know, after the initial sales process, a lot of the fulfillment process of a loan file involves documentation, collecting them, analyzing them, processing them, and then getting things underwritten. And so I can show you a little bit in the past. This is something that we had before. Tinman is a rule-based engine, so it is smart enough to know what document we need from you. For example, if we know you have another rental property, we know we would need a mortgage statement from that. We need your W-2s and most recent pay stub. We need your Schedule C if you have a self-employment business, things like that. Okay, so you can drop each document in the corresponding slot, so to speak. And that is good enough right now with AI and with the way that AI powered documentation processing is working. We don't need the borrower to like manually drop each document in its right place. So we have developed something called Smart Upload AI. It looks a little bit like this. And basically, they have one place to drop all the documents that we've determined we would need from the customer. Also super mobile friendly as well, because you can just click the upload files and click a photo from your phone as well if you have the documents nearby, or if you have the PDF, you can upload everything here. And Tinman basically handles the rest of multiple things, classifying the documents, making sure it is complete and accurate. It's not like cropped in a weird way or too blurry, and then extract the information. Now, most of you might have seen these very sophisticated AI-generated fake expense receipts with very realistic wrinkles on the paper and everything like that. So I think very soon, stare and compare, trying to eyeball if this pay stub looks legit or not is not going to be good enough anymore. We need to look at actual metadata, see if pixels have been tampered with, things like that. And that is why we're leaning in on this smart upload AI-powered document processing to make sure that all the documents are authentic and not tampered with. So then right after people upload everything here, basically in the back end, the system is classifying, processing, and underwriting the different data points. If the document is not correct, I can show you a little bit in the back end what that looks like. This is just for the purposes of showing you. This is not visible to the borrower, but something that our teammates can see, which is we can see why something was disqualified. The document was not accepted because the lease is expiring within the next 60 days. So we need to follow up with them manually and ask if they have a month-to-month renewal or something like that in order to verify this rental income, or if something is correct, but it's actually from 6 months ago and we need something from the last month, we can also make that clear to borrowers.
So Tom, sorry, I just want to pause on this. Like what's happening is the client's just uploading a bunch of documents that the system asked them for. And then it's not only placing them in the right places that they need to be, but then it's analyzing each one of them and saying, hey, this one's too old, right? Or this one has a lease agreement expiring, get a new one. Like these are all stuff that we typically would have to have a teammate get it. And then maybe like, oh, look, it's too old. And they have to jump on, send an email, tell the client it's too old, call them. Like the system does all of it. It'll email the client back. It'll communicate with them. Like reading the information, it's putting it in the right place. It'll run AUS off of it. This stuff, I didn't know it existed 6 months ago, but the fact that it does, think about how fast and how effective your team could be, how many more families and how better you can serve them when it's correcting documents, when it's extracting and classifying documents, when it's creating follow-up steps for the client because it's analyzed it, it's looking at bank statement deposits and, IRS liens, right? It's just, that's the level to which this is happening. But again, it has to be built.
Yep, absolutely. I think even when I first looked into OCR technology of scraping and processing documents automatically, I was thinking almost too small because I was only thinking about the actual scraping of the data points. Okay, W2 box 5, the number is 625, something like that. But there's so many other next steps that we could empower people to do from this information. For example, we have discrepancies being raised automatically as red flags to the production partner and or the underwriter. So instead of looking at the entire document and trying to look at what might be questionable, the system is looking at everything for you and raising things such as name differences. It might be someone just got married and they changed their name, so their name doesn't match on different documents, but we can follow up with them and confirm that that is okay. There's nothing fishy about that, or different addresses because they recently moved, different names, AKA for their company that they work at on their pay stubs, things like that. Again, I think one of the main ethos of Tinman is just showing you or the human exactly what you need to pay some more attention to versus making you go through everything and then 90% of it is okay. You didn't even have to review it and only 5 to 10% is what you need to actually look at.
Yeah. Hey, Ton, real quick, can you just show the 1-day mortgage AI review and kind of the stats around that?
Yeah, for sure. I'll show a quick demo of that and then I'll flip over to some of the stats around how our AI review is doing. So really quick explanation here on what is happening. This is a side-to-side view of what the borrower sees on the left-hand side and what the internal view looks like on the right-hand side. We've just gone over both of these views just now, but in underwriting, basically a couple things have to happen, right? In this case, we need to get pay stubs and W-2s from people. We need to scrape the information, run it through income calculator, run AUS, check everything, and then with the end goal of being able to issue a commitment letter. So let's see how Tinman does that.
And this is all happening automatically, correct?
Yep. So right now, as you can see, the borrower just uploaded their income document, so nothing is populated here yet. But let's go back. Make sure that it runs through OCR by submitting it. I'm actually slowing it down a little bit here because in reality, a lot of things happen in the back end of Tinman. We're trying our best to break up the steps here just to show what happens. All the green bars at the top here represent different tasks that Tinman is doing, running through what we call hands-free income calculator, running AUS. And it's almost like a blink and you'll miss it moment, but as you can see right now, hands-free income calculation has finished, and by the pay stubs that were submitted, we know that the borrower gets paid semi-monthly. This is their income, this is their pay rate, pay period, W-2 information for the year 2024. And this is the income that we are able to qualify them with. And then with that out of the way, a couple other things that Tinman's doing in the background, such as the AUSPs and confirming assets and things like that. Again, going down to the milestone, which is right here on the bottom right of the screen, you can see that Tinman is flipping it from underwriting to the next milestone, which is, did you see that? It just flipped to conditional approval just because Tinman has determined that all of the conditions have been met. Again, a bunch of things happening here. And then as soon as the underwriter is assigned on this file, they're able to outbound the commitment letter to the borrower. And flipping over to the borrower side on the left, borrower view on the left-hand side, emails come out too, but if you're on the phone with them, you can say, hey, like refresh your screen and ta-da, there you go. The commitment letter is right there. So again, I don't think it does justice of like showing everything that's happening in the background because not all of it is visually available, but just to show the point that our AI review is doing a lot of the work here to
So
assist.
Tom, just to make sure everyone realizes, so a client just filled out the application, uploaded their documents, and it all got approved with zero human involvement, correct?
Correct. And in case you are asking, hey, does this only apply to the happy path? Like in reality, how much does this actually apply? This is our live tracker of our AI review decisions of approved loan. As you can see, it's been increasing over time as we've expanded the abilities of our AI, including more income types. We started with just W-2s, and then we added variable income, rental income, self-employment income, fixed income, things like that. So just this week, we actually crossed over the 50% mark and continuing to expand quickly. And just to end here, again, at the end of the day, we're looking to make the process quicker, easier, faster for borrowers. So another metric that we track is customer labor time, how much time people have to spend on the portal, uploading documents, answering questions, looking at just different elements of the portal. And as you can see, it's been declining both pre-lock and post-lock with all of the features that we constantly roll out every day just to make the process easier here.
Awesome. Tom, thank you for sharing that. Team, this is, again, I thought this stuff was the future. I thought this was like coming at some point, but the fact that we can go from application to approved in minutes without humans being involved and it doing all the math and calculating all the income and doing all that stuff, that's where the industry is headed. And we can help so many more families in such a more significant way with, I think Jeremy just put it in, more than 50% of borrowers are being auto approved through this system, through automation. Something that we all just need to be aware of and ask ourselves, like, do we need to do what we've always done? Or can we move to being more impactful and educational? Somebody who's going to show how he's doing that real time, one of our mortgage advisors, Brian Gutierrez, is here. And Brian is going to show us how he goes from dreams and goals call to action items, how he's utilizing Betsy and AI inside as an originator. So BG, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. So to Ryan's point, the dreams and goals call that we go through, the first 20 to 40 minutes of a conversation with the lead really opens up the clients based on the questions that you ask them. So one thing that Neo has done a great job of just creating that call flow for mortgage advisors, whether you're new, whether you've been in the industry, but just having some sort of call flow where it's going to break down key questions that you need to probably know for the transaction, probably to help that client for the next 30 years. This is just an example of what we've put together at Neo, and you can see it's really giving some highlight views into the financial situation of the client. Now, as a team, we collaborate weekly, and we came up with a little bit of like a call flow questionnaire. So this is an example of that. Now, I share this with you because it just dives us deeper into these questions to make sure that no stone is left unturned, so to speak. But when you go through this, you think about the current mortgage originator out in the market. And I was one of these where I ask these questions, I'm taking notes, and then I have to go back and say, hey, say that again. And what we've really championed with AI and coupling with even ChatGPT before Betsy was in our LOS, it was really a way of just creating a process so that way we can do this dreams and goals discovery call at a whole different level to create an overall client experience that is better than anything any of us have ever done as mortgage advisors. So one thing we did was we really pushed everybody to Zoom. Whether that Zoom call is video, so you can share screens, so you can maybe show different movement in the mortgage market, or if it's just to get on the phone to record the call. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is in your Zoom setting, if you go to your settings and hit record, you're going to actually have your smart recording AI companion, and then you're going to have all these different options. Just make sure they're on. At the very least, when you push the client to, hey, I got your information from Eddie, I'm going to get on the phone with you, let's do 3 o'clock. Schedule that time, get the client on there, or make the phone call so they can come in and you can record that to get the transcript, right? And the reason is so that way when you get that transcript, you can create a ChatGPT bot or some sort of way to just capture and put the transcript in like I've done here and actually output the entire information in a very clear, concise manner. So it literally took in this folder that I've created in my ChatGPT called Dreams and Goals, I've created some instructions in here. I put those 2 files that I just shared with all of you. And then I created some bumpers and AI kind of helped me write this, but this is literally just to help with the project. So when I put in that transcript, it's going to spit out all of this information that I can copy into my CRM. I can send to my production partner. I can send it to my ops team so that way there's a complete blueprint of what this client is trying to do. And as you can see, it puts it all in those buckets and gives us a nice little overview of everything that we're doing. So that's one way to just really utilize the tools that we're probably all using in today's market now, but at least having an opportunity to scale your client experience at a whole different level. As you saw Tan actually put out there, right, is that there's a number of things that we can do with Betsy, just helping us with a file decision. But now as a mortgage advisor who's living and breathing on some of these files that maybe may not even make it to a production partner because of a credit score, or you may just have a different need for it in the day-to-day, we've created some prompts, and these prompts are just a collaborative effort of people saying, I wish I was able to do this, or I wish I was able to do that. So very similar to what Tan and Eddie were doing, we have some test files here. So I'm going to bring that up and show you guys that this is Betsy inside of a test file. And all I'm going to do is, so this is a credit boost prompt. So somebody comes in and has, maybe a 580 credit score, and we can kick them over to a third-party partner, follow up on it like Ryan mentioned, or we can put them in a campaign with automations, or we can maybe give them a little bit of a blueprint and just say, hey, this may be something that would work. So as I put this in here, we created something where we can actually change the credit score. So I think my credit score on this file is something crazy like an 8, let's see here, 815. So let's say we want to get that to an 820. Cool. We're going to go up a little bit. So you'll see that Betsy is going to spit out exactly what needs to happen after it's analyzing the facts, the credit profile, putting everything together. And this is all built using Betsy and GPTs to basically help us put the ideal prompt together for what mortgage lending is looking for. But I mean, just take a look, guys. It's giving us something that some of us send out to a third-party credit reporting or a credit repair company, and our client may be sitting there for 30, 60 days, and we don't even know what's happening. We don't know what our timeline looks like. But this has given us a very, very quick overview. Now, the one thing I would share is, that this isn't a for sure thing, just like you would on a Wayfair, like, what if simulator or anything like that. You just want to make sure that you put all this together. That's one example. Another one that we have is production partner. So transferring that loan file off to a production partner or to an ops partner. You can sit there and type it out in an email form. You can have a Word document that you copy and paste and you put it into an email to send out to your team, or you can just prompt right within Betsy. And as you can see, that AI generative tool inside of your LOS just basically puts the entire blueprint for you of what that file is set up. So you set your entire file up, you're ready to package and push it to processing. That's a prompt that just helps you execute at a higher level. For those of us that are working with our insurance providers or our financial advisors and sending referrals out to them for clients who have that need, this is a very simple just prompt to help us actually put together a quick email to send an insurance quote out to our trusted insurance partner. It gives all the data for the information. All the insurance agent has to do is pick up the phone and get the simple stuff like date of birth, driver's license information, so we can kind of hand this off in a cleaner way. We've created an actual automation within ADM to where when we put the date in, it actually sends an email to the production partner. Production partner now has that email task to complete and send to the referral partner. So again, just creating those 10 to 15 minute efficiencies that Ryan was recommending. Here's an example of one for financial advisor. For the sake of time, it does the same thing. It just grabs asset information. Here's a refinance strategy prompt. So those files that are in a closing queue, I'd have to do that on a live file, which I'll pass on today, but we can put this prompt in there and it will actually give us a refinance strategy for the client to help us just, again, start the process of a TCA or put something together. It just helps us create a little bit more efficiency with time. PMI breakdown. So when will that PMI fall off of that conventional loan? Temporary buy down prompts. So this is built for Neo and what we offer on temporary buy downs. We can get those in a moment's notice now by just putting that prompt in. And then one of the favorites that we just want to showcase is a closing gift. I saw one of our teammates, Jason Russell, throw that out there. But on a live file, it's looking at credit information and bank information, spending habits, and it's basically putting together something. So imagine if you're licensed in, let's say, Arizona, and you have somebody purchasing there. You may not be 100% familiar with it. Well, this will allow you, because it'll use GPT to put together the top 5 closing gifts for that client. And again, it's just something to help create a 10 to 15 minute efficiency on each loan. That adds up and allows us to do the business development that we need to be doing every single day. Those are just a few tips, Ryan, that I wanted to share on the call today. I didn't know if there was anything else you want me to touch on.
That was great, man. As you can see, as a mortgage advisor, Brian is shaving off 10, 15, 20 minutes per task. And he just showed you close to 10 of them. So think about how much time and energy that gives you and your team and the consistency in which you can deliver great results. And so the key here is you have to be able to talk to your LOS as a thought partner, as a production partner, as a business development partner, as an ops partner. And there's nothing we can't ask it. But again, the automation has to live inside your LOS. Otherwise, one thing you do not want to do is you never want to share any client information into a standard GPT. Like if you put NPI outside of your system, it is a massive violation. So don't just type this into regular GPT and say like, what can I do here? First of all, it won't know the facts of your client or your file. But secondly, if you start to put those in there, it's a violation. So don't do that. BG, thank you so much. Eddie, let's move to you and just show us some more of the lead conversion during when it comes to like what some of our in-process stuff is, like during the actual transaction, how we communicate with all parties, and some of the gifting stuff we're doing.
As you can see here on my screen, this shows all of our in-process automations, milestones that's done during the process. When app is received, when files sent to processing, submitted to approval, underwriting, conditional approval, clear to close, funded. Here's an example of a submit to processing email. It'll go out to the borrower. You can see it's also going out to the buying agent, buying transaction coordinator, as well as the seller. If it's a builder loan, then I'll add the builder on there, a title representative, and also via text messaging, the agents will get that notification. If you go into the email itself, they'll give the borrower the update on what their status of their loan is. So this is what a service that we provide here at Neo is the Homeminder Assistant. So essentially they can click on this link. It'll pop them to this link right here. Well, they'll be able to schedule a time to meet with the Homeminder Assistant team to help them with their relocation services. So if they need help setting up their TV, internet, cable utilities, moving services, they'll just go down here, put in their information, and that Homeminder Assistant team will call them and schedule a time to meet with them. In that email also will be a short 1-minute video. If I go in here, it'll just start playing it, but it'll essentially talk to the borrower, tell the borrower about what the Homeminder Assistant is and what kind of service it provides to give the information valuable to the consumer, to the borrower, for them to engage with that Homeminder Assistant team.
Helping your clients move into their new home, helping them save time and energy, helping them save money. Like it all should just be built into your system. You shouldn't have to call a moving company or give them referrals. Like it should just happen as a part of your standard offering.
Yeah, and then we have another one, for example, as conditional approval, we send out personalized cookies to the borrower. It's all built in within the CRM. So when the milestone hits conditional approval, an email goes out to our cooking vendor. It has all the merge fields populated from that transaction. Will include all of the buying agent's information on there. So it's co-branded. Essentially, it'll look like this. It'll have a box of cookies with the branding on there. There's 12 cookies on there. 6 of them will have the sticker with the agent partner information, and the 6 will be the mortgage lender. But yeah, that's the process that we have built in through the CRM automated.
Yeah, again, automate your best intentions, right? Automate your gifting process, automate your co-branding with your agents. So our team will literally just get emails or text messages being like, thank you so much for co-branding me on those cookies. My clients brought them to work and they loved them. That's the kind of stuff that elevates your brand and elevates your realtors to a place where it's just happening behind the scenes. You don't need to worry about hiring somebody to do that or having somebody in your office manually do it. Because again, we all have the best of intentions, but if we don't automate those intentions, sometimes we do it, most of the time we don't. So Eddie, thank you again for doing that. Okay, so post-closing, we talked about before, we talked about during, now we talk about after. After, we need to, again, show our clients what we do and how we do it. In this particular case, they get an email, they know what the Neo Experience is, they get set up with our Neo Experience app, which is their wealth management system. They get set up with their home concierge, which helps them keep their home maintained at a high level. They get their monthly real estate wealth digests, and we explain to them all of these things that are happening. We let them know about our strike rate, our perfect mortgage promise, and our long-term client commitment. And this is where the CSM roadmap kicks in. So the client knows, hey, we're going to do an initial call that helps with setting expectations for the next 30 years, that helps you understand how we're going to help you with servicing and first payment information. 3-month mark where our client success teammates are going to refer CPAs, financial planners, estate planning attorneys. 6-month mark is where our perfect mortgage promise really starts to kick in, and our annual financial review every year. And then it gives them really good clarification as to what they can and should expect from us year over year. And again, we want to sell a different product. If this didn't open your eyes to this point to tell you that almost the majority of the loan process is going to be at parity, so then we have to ask ourselves the question, what can we do? What can we offer? Who can we become that automation can't replace? And this is that, right? It's the long-term proactive commitment to helping people grow generational wealth in a way that most mortgage professionals won't have the ability to do because it's not automated, there's not teams approach, and there's no AI involved in it. I will tell you that having a consistent file flow process in a team is incredibly important. This is inside of our learning management system. So you'll see every single teammate has a task: lead intake, pre-underwriting, TBD process, disclosures, lock, third parties, order outs, preparing files. It's assigned to every person. And ultimately, this is what your team makeup should look like. If you were helping 20 families a month, so let's say it's my team, it would be me, I'd be the mortgage advisor, I'd have a production partner, a credit analyst, and a loan specialist. And then we'd work with underwriting and closing. But I can help 20 families a month with these 3 teammates. This only really happens if there's consistency in that process. And so this is taking me to the opportunity page here. This is going to lower your cost of fulfillment. We currently have about 40% lower cost of fulfillment than industry average. And that's public. You can hear it on our last earnings call. But hiring more humans is not the answer. Hiring a lot of people when rates go down and then having to let those people go when rates go up is a very antiquated, old school way of doing things. Unfortunately, it's still happening today. I want to help you guys with that. And so this is essentially our offer. Just scan that QR code. I'm happy to do a tech and systems analysis or a team structure analysis, because I think, as you saw today, if you're still doing the stuff you're doing today that you were doing 5 years ago, or even worse, 10 years ago, it's a short runway, right? It's going to be one of those things that feels like it's happening slow, and then it happens very fast, where all of a sudden you look up and you don't know where your clients are, your retention struggles, lead generation is harder, your agents are going to work with mortgage partners who are providing lead partnership opportunities at higher levels. If you really want to know where you stand, like in relation to what I would consider the modern mortgage world, I'm happy to help. So ideally, you'd be helping about 4 families or more per month, because that's really when you need a team and that's really when you need tech systems analysis. But I genuinely want to make sure that, like, I know this is scary, right? I know that you can feel like you're somewhat left behind on this a little bit. And I don't want that to be something that holds you back. Next webinar series is going to be July 15th. It's going to be power of community, how important that is. But just to wrap this up, again, please don't get stuck in the success trap. The success trap is exactly that. It is a challenge where most people define themselves by where they are today. And that's a trap. If you're successful right now in 2025, that's awesome. But it's also can be a little concerning, because what you never want to do is you never want to value yourself purely on your current accomplishments. And if you're currently successful, that's great. It feels great, right? It feels like you don't need to change or do anything different. But instead, value yourself for the sincere pursuit and improvement and impact, right? And what you're trying to do there. Spend time on things today that will not only give you more time tomorrow, but will help you make a greater impact, be a better leader, will help you shape the future of the industry so it's not shaped for you and without you, right? Like, this is what that, like, it's a trap to stay into that current place. We want you to get to a place where you have never been more excited about the industry than you are today, where you genuinely know that the next 10 years in this business will be led by people like you. It'll be led by innovators. It'll be led by people who are really uncomfortable today. Like, candidly, our team has been uncomfortable for the last 3 or 4 months during this transition, because we had to get off an old antiquated system and we had to learn everything that you just saw today. And that doesn't happen overnight. And it's frustrating at times. But goodness, after seeing this, can you imagine if we were still on the system we were on previously? Like, it's not where we want to be. So get uncomfortable today in pursuit of a better tomorrow. Because if you stay comfortable today, tomorrow is not going to be fun. So use that QR code, reach out if I can help, to our incredible team, Tom, Brian, Eddie, Kristen. Thank you guys all for your help. Everyone behind the scenes, thank you for your help. Hopefully this was impactful. And if you have any questions, again, reach out. But The future's here, and we're pretty excited to be driving the train as opposed to being on the tracks when it shows up. Appreciate y'all. Talk soon.